And welcome to the 188th and sadly, the final edition of It's a Sports Show as we know it.
Wow.
To my left, Scott Cray, the former co-host, doing his last gig, and John Turner. Who knows what John Turner is going to be? We can't figure him out. He's
just like showing up
Eagles,
from time to
Reggie
time.
White. He's like a chameleon. Every week he might show us something a little different. But Scotty, welcome back. I know you've been out a little bit.
Yeah, I've been out of the loop, but I'm back for one last one, and I hope you'll carry the torch. I mean, somebody's got to.
We are going to do a sports show. We don't know if it's going to be It's a Sports Show. We might put this one behind us.
Yep.
We might start anew, but we will carry some version of a sports show and keep entertaining our loyal viewers.
Probably do a better job of entertaining than I could. So.
Well, no, we had a pretty good run. As a matter of fact, you're holding the first tape in your hand, which is
June 17th, 2003 was when, and ironically, you talked about starting fresh after my demise. Hopefully I'll still be alive. And that's what we did. Mike Tortolani and Scott Cordisci, I believe they were the only two that started a show called something else, Towards Sports Talk at the time.
Gresh was there too.
Gresh, that's right.
And I was an occasional host there towards the end a little bit.
You were there.
That's how I got to know you.
And then
Through that moment.
June 17, 2003, somewhere around that time, is when they stopped doing the show for one reason or another. And Dave Betancourt and I started
of Rocky Point fame, as we know now.
Fame.
So
Far too busy to carry on with the likes of us now.
I mean, he's one alumni who went on to bigger and better things. You're probably the next one. Me and Turner, we're still stuck here. We haven't gotten a gig, but
so June 17, 2003 was the #1 sports show, and you just introduced it now as the 188th edition.
Hey, listen, that's pretty good.
I'm impressed. Of course, Dave came on board originally, but then you took over.
Yeah,
and you've actually done more with me than.
Oh
he
yeah,
had.
yeah. I've been at least I think about 3 years anyway. So
telling you, it's time to do it.
It's been a pretty good run.
Time to move on.
Well, what are you going to do? I'm glad you could make it for one last one. Have a little farewell.
Well, see, once I knew John was coming, I couldn't miss
Well,
the
the
opportunity.
reason John's coming is because I couldn't miss your last show. You know,
Well, how do you like that? That's
being a guest from time to time.
I mean, we would have a montage of highlights, but we're not that sophisticated yet.
We don't have that kind of time.
We don't have that kind of time.
Sometime in the summer,
we all
maybe.
have to work and pay the bills. So
put together 30 minutes of Scott Cray's most ridiculous things he's ever said. It would fill certainly more than 30 minutes.
That would be interesting. We've had some doozies
and
over
then when
time.
you're not able to
John's
do a
been
show.
in.
Yeah.
John's been in
So
a
I
few
hear.
times when he was Eagle John.
Yep.
Yep.
Wait, was?
Well,
Returns as Eagle
like we
John
talked
for
about the
another
last show you were here.
All right.
We don't know where he's at right now, but well, hopefully you'll enjoy your last glorious.
I don't know what to
half
do
hour
with
us.
my newfound time now. All 30 minutes a week. Because, you
About
know, we
being-
put in a lot of prepreparation into
I just
the
have
show.
one question for you.
Yeah.
I mean, can you just ask the Meeting Street girls if they're still going to look in on me once in a while?
I don't
I
know.
mean, if you're gone now, I don't know.
Hey, let me tell you, those Meeting Street girls throw on the TV. They're not looking for me. They're glancing past me. They want to see you, you know, you do the eyebrow thing.
The eyebrow
hair
thing? Well,
Oh, yeah.
hopefully they'll stay with us.
Say hi to them.
Hi, girls. I'm a little sad, but, hopefully the girls will keep tuning in, and every once in a while I'll give them that's only me and Meat Street, that little eyebrow. I don't know what that is, but
The logo.
should we talk sports?
Yeah, I mean, after all, it is a sports show.
Let's talk sports before we get too mushy and just really start getting emotional like T.O. What'd you guys think of that T.O.? That's a nice segue. I'm getting better at this, ain't I?
I'm telling you, it's a good time for me to
Sorry about
move
that.
on.
How about
You're
T.O.?
talking about T.O. crying at the press conference to not pick on his quarterback. You know, I was shocked because that's not, of all the 10,000 emotions we've seen from Terrell Owens from the days of the Niners, the Eagles, Dallas, that is not one that I can ever recall seeing. You know, now that's
Well, a long
normally
time
raw
ago,
emotion.
if you remember the San Fran in Green Bay when he scored that touchdown, this is when he was very young.
Yep.
When Green Bay lost to San Fran on that last play of the game and he caught the ball in the end zone,
Yep.
he was filled with emotion. But after that, especially John, and you can comment on this when he was with the Eagles.
He was filled with emotions on the Eagles.
Well, he was.
arrogance.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He was
Yes, indeed.
dogging the quarterback and stuff like that.
Now just the opposite.
Now he's like, it's not fair, but and of course all the Giants guys, they took shots at him for the popcorn. So
Right. My question is, where does this come from? Is the attachment to this human being that is the quarterback so real that this really did cause this kind of emotion, or was just another media circus type thing that gets Terrell Owens in the spotlight and draws the attention away from his quarterback, so to speak. I don't know. I don't know if this is real,
Don't care.
fake, or
John don't care. He's not a big
John's
fan.
had enough. No, I'm not a Terrell Owens fan either.
I mean,
although he has played low key this year.
I think the emotion was sincere. I think he's, he's got some issues. But what happens is when you stick your neck out there.
Yep.
I mean, the Cowboys have some bigger issues in that this is the second year in a row that they've lost a game in the playoffs.
Right.
This year specifically, they're 13-3. They're like the first #1 seed since they went to 12-team format. They lost the first game.
Yep.
I mean, this was kind of a stunner. And
since 1990.
last couple of weeks, there's some players saying that they're not, that they were a little complacent. There's questions now regarding Bumpkin Phillips, who I don't like as a head coach.
Right.
Did he maybe, I'm not going to go into the Jessica Simpson thing, about him
That's
taking a few
ridiculous.
days off. I mean, I don't think Romo was a big factor in this game. I mean, maybe he didn't play lights out, but I don't know if you guys saw the game. I mean, Patrick Creighton, to me, almost single-handedly lost that game. He had a pass over the middle there. That was a key reception. He had some daylight, and he dropped it. So there's just some issues where they're going to get over the hump, and now they're going to be rated for, certainly some coaches.
Yep.
I know as we tape the show today, Jason Garrett's been offered the job at Baltimore.
Yep.
Not know if he's going to take it. Of course, Tony Soprano is probably going to end up in Miami. So they got some issues there, and Jerry Jones said no matter what, he wasn't going to get rid of Wade Phillips, but there's going to be some heat there. So
I don't know. I mean, that's one guy, one owner that tends to stick by his word. Not a George Steinbrenner type that says one thing and does another. So if he says that his head coach is staying there, I'm going to think that his head coach is staying there. Now,
well, it's not like he did a bad job.
Exactly.
I mean, you go 13-3, #1 seed in the NFC. I mean, Wade Phillips did a decent job this year. He had good talent. Unfortunately, he
but he underachieved, though. That's the question.
Yes.
his team
Marty
underachieved.
Schottenheimer, and we'll get, of course, to the Chargers, but Marty Schottenheimer was always a great regular season coach, and we've talked about them a few times throughout It's a Sports Show, and he couldn't get him over the hump. He got fired off a pretty good team. North Turner came in, a lot of criticism, but you know what? North Turner did something that Marty hasn't been able to do. He's won 2 playoff games.
Right.
That's true, and Wade Phillips is 0-4 in the playoffs. So.
And I think the focus is in the wrong spot here. We're talking about Dallas and who's to blame for what went down. Let's give credit to the Giants. The Giants
Good point.
and Manning
Yeah.
I knew we had you here for something.
outstanding football. I mean, they're a playoff team. They deserve to be in the playoffs. How far they should have gone, no one really expected them to beat Dallas. But you know what? They did, and they have some great momentum going right now to get to the next round. We'll see how far they get. But, man, Manning played some serious
This brings
football.
it back to the last game. We talked about this last week, John.
Yes, we did.
The last game against the Patriots, they did not have to play the guys they did, and they did not have to play as hard as they did.
That's right.
In almost beating the Patriots.
Yep.
And you
And
know
Manning
what?
had a great game there,
Now
too.
it looks like a benefit because they're on a pretty
Played
good
it.
roll.
They found out they could play
playing
all
good
60
defense.
minutes, playing good defense.
Manning's
decent
playing
offense,
well,
yeah.
and they went in and stung the Cowboys. But
And-
we'll get to the game specifically.
NFL players will always say, and coaches will always say, it's the momentum going in that matters most in football.
Right, how you play at the end,
and
not
they've
at
got
the
it.
beginning. But I'll tell you, there's one thing, to get into the game itself, we're not going to talk a lot about it, of course. We want to get to Patriots and stuff like
Sure.
that.
Well, we got 4 games to go, so what the heck?
Right, no, I was watching the end of the game, and from a strategic point of view, the Cowboys had the ball at the end of the game, regardless of how they played before that point. It's 2nd down and 1. They got about a minute and change, and I should have this exact information, but there's enough information out there. We're going to paraphrase. A minute and change, 2nd down and 1, and they got 1 timeout. They were on about their own 45-yard line. They run the ball to try to get the first down. This drives me nuts because when teams have very little time left, to me, the first down is almost irrelevant.
Exactly.
Unless it's 4th down and 11, obviously you're going to get the first down. But it's 2nd down and 1. You don't need the first down because that's going to come. You need to move the ball down the field. And consequently, what happened is that they handed it off. They got the first down, which was great.
But the
They took a long
everybody
time.
piled on
Yep.
the running back. They didn't know what to
running.
do. They didn't want to call that timeout because they wanted to
took a
save
lot of
it.
time off the clock.
To me, that's where they lost the game. And then Romo, who get that intentional grounded, I mean, that's where they lost.
Well, not only that, but that intentional grounding. I mean, he was in the pocket. There was nobody there. He just threw the ball away. So, I mean, he just blew it there towards the end, too.
I would
think
agree.
that's
I mean,
a lot to do with
those
inexperience.
sequence of events there, I just think that 2nd down play to get the first down is ridiculous. You've got to advance the ball down the field. You don't need 1 yard to get a fresh set of downs because, it's not like they were on the 20-yard line. If you're on the 20-yard line, okay, get the first down.
Right.
Now you spike the ball or whatever, and you got 2 or 3 chances to get in the end zone. But hey, listen, like you said, I mean, give credit to the Giants. Also give credit to Tom Coughlin, who, you know what,
Sure.
has taken a lot of criticism for his coaching style, kind of a drill sergeant.
But it works.
You know what? The guy's been pretty good where he's gone.
Yeah. He always has been. And the player, he's not, I believe I'm saying this right, he's not a player's coach per se.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
So-
I think that's a fair
But the
assessment.
players know what to expect. Supposedly he's fair. And he has that mentality, like you said, like a drill sergeant mentality. But you know what? If it works for your team, move forward.
I think at the beginning that's how the players felt, but now that they
Sure.
know, and hey, Strahan was one of them. Hey, he's got him playing well, so I never question the method. There's some coaches that coach players coaches.
Yep.
You know, I don't want to say. I guess Tom Landry was kind of that guy. You know, and there's other guys who scream and yell like a Purcell. So there's different ways of doing it,
Motivating.
but obviously his is pretty successful, and the
Right.
Giants are one step away from the Super Bowl, which is unbelievable.
And like you said, some players complained about him towards the beginning, but some people just don't adjust well to change, especially if you liked the outgoing coach.
Yeah,
You know
I
what
mean, he's the type of guy who doesn't want you sitting on your helmet, stuff like that. And a lot of
Right.
guys who are veterans on the sideline, you know, they're used to doing their own thing. But hey, you can't question that.
That's it.
All right, let's move on to the next game.
Let's go to the Chargers and the Colts.
Let's go to
Yeah.
Chargers and the Colts.
What,
We'll go back to the
first-
What did I say last week?
I wanna
figured
know
if
from-
anybody could do it, it would have been the Chargers. And
I want to know
sure enough,
from
it
you
proved
guys,
out.
disappointed or happy? Because some people wanted to see the Colts play the Patriots.
Well, either way.
Are we
either
talking like
way,
Yankees, Red Sox at
but
this point?
no,
We've seen enough?
No, we've seen. Well, it's not that we've seen enough. It's just that the hype that would go along with it. It's been documented, I think, now that we've got the best quarterback.
Sure.
Peyton Manning, good quarterback, definitely a Hall of Fame candidate, but when the pressure is on, he starts to lose it out there, and that's what happened. We want to play a good, solid team. The Chargers on the other side, they've got LaDainian Tomlinson. Unfortunately, he may not be playing as full as he should on Sunday. Their quarterback, Phillip Rivers, I mean, his right knee goes, he gets all banged up.
Oh,
on
they're a
that,
banged-up
so
team, no
they're
doubt about
a
it.
banged-up team.
You're saying you want the Patriots to play a good all-around team. Are you saying that if the Chargers and Colts played, say, a best of 5, you think the Chargers would come out on top?
Oh, I do. I
Really?
do. Yes, I do.
What do you
I
think about that? Because that's surprising to me.
I
think the
completely
Colts-
disagree. This to
I
me
do
is
too.
just another way that the Patriots have the biggest horseshoe in the history of sports. I mean,
The injuries,
the two
maybe.
teams who could have beat New England, Indianapolis and the Cowboys. I agree with you. I think it's an aberration the Colts lost to San Diego. Give San Diego a lot of credit. They played a tough football game, but in my mind, the Colts had a much better chance of beating New England. So for those of us who dislike New England, like myself, of
See,
course we want
now
to see
you're-
the Colts
now
in
you're
New England.
blinded.
Well, no, that's Yankees, Red Sox, Colts, New England, Manning versus Brady. That's what we wanted to see. Of
No,
course,
that's what
Patriot
it-
fans are happy because they get the
It's
Chargers.
not necessarily Colts against New England, it's Peyton against Brady.
Well, that's what people-
it is.
Because
They
when
make it
Peyton
out to
took the
be.
field on Sunday, they even said it during the broadcast. He was watching Brady. He saw what he did on
yeah.
Saturday, and he wanted
Not
to
only
to
do
come
the
out with
Patriots
something,
get the Chargers, they get a banged up Charger
yeah,
team. So
that
you might
team's
as well
hurting.
stamp this thing up. I mean, it's a good thing the Chargers are like one of my second favorite teams, and I'm Charger Paul this week.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you know, it's a good thing, you know, that I like the Chargers, but
You have a team to follow
I mean,
now.
Chargers going into New England, you know,
Banged
listen,
up.
Listen, they beat the Colts, and John called it and failed to John call it, but I disagree that I think if they played 5 games, I think the Colts would win 4 of them.
So do I. I think the Colts are a better team overall.
I think the Colts defensively, for some reason, they had been playing well. I don't know what happened to them. They were giving up a lot of big plays, and again, give the Chargers credit
Sure.
for going in there and just beating them. I mean, Giants and Chargers, again, like Herm Edwards once said,
upsets, yeah.
that's why we play the games. And,
Yep.
and you never know. I just think
You never know, but you know what? That's only going to happen so many times. That's why I think both the Giants and the Chargers are gone, but we'll talk about that. But, you know, that whole that's why we play the game thing, that only works so many times in a row. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, let's go to just so we can spend some time on the Patriots, because I'm sure a lot of people want to hear about the Patriots. We'll go back to the NFC here real quick. Seattle at Green Bay. I mean, Brett Favre, is he an ageless wonder or what? I
He's
mean,
just
Well, that was a
38
fun
years of
game.
age, he's just doing it. He's
That was a
just doing
fun
it.
game to
And I
watch.
believe that if things work out the way I predict they will, that the Chargers will lose to the Patriots.
In the Super Bowl?
And the Giants will lose to Green Bay, and we're going to see the Patriots and the Packers
well,
win,
I mean, that's
Super Bowl.
that's a
That'd be fun.
very good possibility, and to see Favre in,
And I
in the
agree.
Super Bowl. I'll tell you what. Here's an athlete who, you know, Dan Marino towards the end tried to, you know, stretch it out, really couldn't. I mean, of course, they're the products of their team and everything. You know, Aikman's, we know his story was the concussion. Even the great Joe Montana at the end with Kansas City really couldn't do as much as he used to. Favre, we talked about this last year on the show, Scott. We kind of wrote him off.
Yeah, because he had a couple of years where it was just.
And it was mostly the team.
Right.
But, boy, I mean, how does he look now? The guy's running around. He's throwing balls behind his back, under his leg. People are catching
ridiculous.
it.
He's looking like he's 24 again, having fun out there.
It's unbelievable. And you know what? Seattle got off to a 14-0 lead. I thought Seattle.
Oh, could you imagine? I felt sorry for Ryan Grant. I mean, first 70 seconds, 2 fumbles, they take him in, touchdowns, and here's a guy that's just like having a just abysmal game.
Yep.
Then he comes back, rushes for 201 yards, sets a team record, number 7 all time for rushing.
And that says something about the team, that the team did not give up on this guy. And
they have a young team. I thought Seattle might be able to pop them because they had a young team. So when they were down 14-0, I said, Seattle's experienced, because Seattle's been battle-tested in the playoffs. And lo and behold, I mean, the Packers come right back. And Ryan Grant, just to make a quick point about him, he was traded, I believe, from, I think, the Falcons. I'm not 100% sure on that. But they picked him out early in the year, way down on the depth chart. And that's why we talk about number one picks and stuff like that. But this kid right now, I mean, picked out of nowhere. So you've got to give the GM some credit for having the foresight to grab this kid, trade him for
good
6th or 7th round kid, and look at what he's doing now.
Yeah. He's just having an outstanding, you can't say enough about the young team that these guys have, nor can you say enough about Brett Favre. I mean, here's a guy who's veteran, who's been through the war and back again, and he's going back into it again.
And the gray hairs show it.
Yep, but he's taking these young guys and he's giving them the leadership that they need.
The coach, McCarthy, you've got to give him a lot of credit. No wonder he was a candidate for the Coach of the Year, and I thought he should have been Coach of the Year because, quite frankly, he didn't cheat. So I thought he should have
slipped
in.
There's
something wrong with my mic, but
all
right,
he didn't get caught.
There you go. We've heard from Patriot Nation, didn't get caught.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's move on to the Patriots game because obviously that's the big one in the area. What you guys think of that Jacksonville game? Well,
boring.
You thought it was boring?
No, I'm talking about the. Oh, I'm sorry. I was jumping up to the game coming ahead.
Well,
this game here was actually a fun game.
We'll run to the
watch.
Patriots real quick and then jump to a quick preview next week.
Look at this week. I mean, Tom Brady, he goes 26-28. He sets the all-time percentage record. The guys who he went against, I mean, just the list of names alone. We're talking Phil Simms. We're talking Joe Montana.
Phil Simms, by the way, was broadcasting that game.
And you printed that up, didn't you?
But we're talking guys who are definitely Hall of Famers.
How the leaf has turned.
We're talking Pro Bowl. We're talking Hall of Famers.
Donovan McNabb, is he on that list?
No, Donovan McNabb is not on that list. He is not the top 4.
Neither.
I don't think he'd be close.
Tom Brady continues to, as much as I thought he was amazing a couple of years ago, I mean, he continues to just excel. He does whatever he has to. They shut Randy Moss down, but they dumped it off to Kevin Falk a lot.
They were playing that. They were figuring that if they're going to go after one part of our game, we're just going to give them another part of our game, and they did. Wes Welker had 11 completions for an amazing amount of yards.
Change. Kevin Falk had a few catches, and Lawrence Maroney. A lot of people were questioning the Patriots' running game, but they ran when they had to.
132 yards.
Let's say this. I mean, Jacksonville played a pretty good game here. David Garrard played an excellent game. He wasn't too far behind.
No, he wasn't. He
threw that interception at the end, but that's almost kind of in a
that's what usually
game.
happens. That's what usually happens when you're in that type of a game.
Jacksonville's offense really brought it to the Patriots, and asking you as a Patriot fan, I mean, you'd have to be a little worried because teams have shown that they can move on the Patriots. The problem is it's so hard to stop the Patriots' offense.
Yeah, well, you see, the thing of it is, the Jaguars are a running team. And did they run that much? No. We had more running yardage than they did. We had more passing yardage than they did.
They passed the ball right down the field, including a 95-yard drive. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, they did, but it was like 270. Yeah, I'm sorry, they did have us. They did have us on the passing yardage. But that was because we went to the ground more. We changed our game plan. We played against their game plan, which was a running game. And since they weren't able to run the ball as effectively as they would like to have, then they had to go to the air. And if we can get them, and that was the key, if we can make them go to the air and keep the running game on the ground to a halt, then there's be no options. Because the Patriots, they can now, with Maroney healthy, with him running.
They moved the ball, though. I think the problem is that it's so hard to stop the Patriots' offense.
Yeah.
You almost have to throw the ball against the Patriots. It's hard to go, this conservative, keep Brady off the field because they can score so quick.
Well, you see what happens when you double or triple team Randy Moss. it just
These
leaves
other guys,
the
they-
guy or two
They have a
open
lot of
underneath.
options.
Well,
have
yeah,
a lot
well,
of
they had Ben
options.
Watson was catching it in the end zone. Wes Welker, how about that play beginning, the opening drive in the third quarter? They get down to the 6-yard line.
Yep.
He fakes the handoff to Maroney going to the inside, and he jumps up. I mean, that was a great
play.
leap.
That was
And,
one of
and
the
he
best
turns
plays I
around,
saw all
and then
weekend.
who's open? Wes Welker, 5'8", back of the end zone.
Yep.
Next thing you know, there's a rope. Welker's got the touchdown, and the Patriots just
And
from
the
there
thing
on
is,
in,
when
it
they-
was
when they-
no contest.
When an opposing team defends the long ball to avoid that, then they can just go underneath with reckless abandon. To me, that's even more demoralizing to a defending team because you're driving down the field, it's taking longer. You still have the same outcome. You don't get burned by one play. You get burned over and over
Well,
and over
I still
again.
think you have to defend the long ball and at least make him
Well,
work for
yeah,
it.
when you got a guy
Sure.
like Randy Moss there, you definitely have to
Make
defend
him
it.
work for it.
And
The
there
problem
isn't a
is,
single guy in the league that can defend him one-on-one.
the problem is it's hard to stop that offense as a whole, and I think that's where teams run into trouble because the Jacksonville offense played pretty well.
Yep.
And Patriots defense worked. We talked about this last week. I said I didn't believe they were a championship defense. I still don't. I think they're pretty good. I mean, I don't think they're like the 84 49ers or certainly not the 85 Bears
Or the Steelers.
or the Steelers who had that
No,
great
yeah.
defense. I
Yes.
mean, they bend a lot. They hold in key spots, but I don't think they're like this dominant defense. If you remember the Patriots' first Super Bowl, Brady was almost irrelevant until he had a good Super Bowl. He had that last drive in the game for Adams' field goal, but the Patriots' defense carried him right through
Carried
the
on
playoffs.
the game. And no, I agree with you. They don't have that same defense feel on
But
the
their
field.
offense is so good that it's hard
irrelevant
to stop them.
in the end.
All right, well, let's move on to this weekend's matchups.
Yeah.
Let's do the NFC real quick so we can spend a little more time on
Yeah, we
New
got
England.
Green Bay
Giants
and
at Green
Giants.
Bay. Nice matchup.
Brett, don't call me Derek Jeter Favre. Come on, you guys saw that underhand play. Did you not think?
Oh,
and
yes.
believe me, I don't like thinking of the Yankees too often, but I do respect Derek Jeter. I saw Brett Favre do that underhand toss. First thing I thought of right away was Derek Jeter, underhand toss to Posada at home plate for an out.
He's just a football player. I mean, he's
He's
I know
unbelievable.
sometimes that's overused. He's just a football player, but he's just a football player. He's not like this prototypical guy.
He thinks on his feet. He
thinks on his
sees
feet.
something there. And
He
if
is
it's
a
there, he's gonna-
gunslinger. That's the way he's always
Tough
been.
as nails, too.
Tough as nails. I mean, obviously at this stage of his career, he understands football.
Yep.
Knows what to do with the ball. He's got some good young receivers. This kid Ryan Grant now running the ball. I'll tell you what. I don't know. I mean, that's why they play the games. I think the Packers. You never know. It'd be interesting to see.
I agree with John. I like
I don't
Green
know how
Bay
they
on
match
this
up
one.
against the Patriots, but yeah, I like the Packers in this game. But you know what? We can't undersell the Giants anymore. They got a
No,
good
we
defense.
can't.
But you know what?
They've got a very good defense. That they
can,
do.
I'm
they
gonna
can
say
run
it
the ball
again.
with Jacobs. They can throw the ball. So this is interesting matchup.
You talk about a horseshoe up a team's butt, okay? And you saw, granted, it wasn't all luck, it was talent, but again, a team, that's why we play the game. I'm going to say it again, I said it earlier, that can only happen so many games in a row, and I think that the Packers and Brett Favre are too smart to lose this game. I don't see it happen.
Okay.
I think they're a much more balanced team also.
I would give the Packers a slight edge in this game,
the
but I would
Giants
not be
are.
surprised if the Giants went in there and popped them. That's,
At this point, I
mean,
wouldn't
hate
be
to ride
surprised
the
with
fence,
anything.
but I say Green Bay because they're at home. It's Lambeau Field. It's Brett
And
Favre.
by the way, for anyone that's looking way ahead in the forecast, it's supposed to be just as cold and snowy.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
game
let's
day.
go to New England. That's the big game, AFC Championship. I think. Now,
Now I can yawn.
well, I think there's a little bit of a letdown.
See
I
me
think
when the Super
besides
Bowl's
John,
over.
I think a lot of fans, and we were all assuming that it was a Colts Patriots matchup. I think a lot of fans are kind of let
And
down.
and you're right. And what does that mean for the Super Bowl, though? It's every year I feel like the Super Bowl happens before the actual Super Bowl because the NFC is so stinking weak. It's not worth.
and in the
Maybe
mid-'80s,
but
it was
not
opposite.
This year, not this year. I mean, Green Bay is I believe that Green Bay is going to take this weekend and continue on and go to the Super Bowl, and they will be a very wily adversary for the Patriots. I'm already giving the Patriots the
I was going to
pass.
say,
I'm sorry.
right.
this
Everybody
is
else
next
is.
week,
But-
Serena.
But the reason I say that is because I believe that the Patriots know now how to stop the run, and without LaDainian Tomlinson in there, they
he's
have to go
playing,
to the air.
though.
I know he's going to be, but I'm saying without him carrying and running the ball,
He's still hurt.
they got to go to the air, and they have a very solid core of linebackers, quarterbacks, and safeties that'll be able
I'll
to
say
maintain
this, though.
that.
I'll say one thing. The Indianapolis defense disappointed me because
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't play well.
they'd been playing pretty well. But I'll tell you, this Charger team, one thing I would say, I don't think they're as skilled as Indianapolis, but I'll tell you what, these are smash mouth guys. They can punch you in the mouth. And if New England's not careful, I mean, these guys are physical. You know, New England could throw the ball, but these guys can hurt you. I mean, they got Sean Phillips. You know, they got lights out Sean Merriman. You know, a la Rodney Harrison. You know, they both belong in the same field. And, you know, Phillip Rivers, we're not sure about it. I mean, I'd like to see him play. I'd like to see the Chargers have a full complement of players.
So would I.
But,
That's one disappointment, I think, with this matchup.
I'll tell you what, you know, the Chargers, you know, I give them a small chance. I really do. I mean, obviously, New England's a favorite. They're 2 touchdown favorites, but the Chargers, they're not like a finesse team who kind of got lucky with 6 turnovers like the last time they beat the Colts. I mean, they went in there. They physically manhandled the Colts at the line of scrimmage. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do, especially against the Patriots defense, who's a little suspect. Maybe I'm just hoping.
Well, you see the other side of the coin. Remember the first play from scrimmage on Sunday? Tom Brady got his bell rung.
Yep.
That was the last time they touched him all game. I don't know what they did. They probably looked back and said, whoops. But I know that our offensive front line,
They're
and
ridiculous.
they've had the same protection, not just this week, but all
Well,
16 weeks prior to.
He's a tough guy to sack because he moves around the pocket, just like Dan Marino. Everybody used to say, oh, Miami had a great offensive line. Yeah, they're pretty good at pass blocking. But, you know, when you got a guy who knows how to move in the pocket, get rid of the ball quick, it's pretty hard to get to him. And I think that's the case with Tom Brady.
When you take a look at Tom Brady and see how in the pocket he's making physical signs with his left arm, that goes to show you how much time this guy is getting. You know what I mean? He's, I think it was the Welker touchdown? He was hitting his shoulder or something, saying, I'm going to throw it to your outside shoulder. When you have time to make those kind of signs, you know, to your wide receivers, you got all the time in the world, for crying out loud. This offensive line is about as good as it gets.
All right, so is it safe to say that this is a layup for the Patriots?
Because the
No,
Jaguars
and
are
I
so
don't
hurt,
believe.
yes.
No, I still won't say that
just gonna
because
go
the Jaguars are
against
still
good grain on one
Yeah,
game.
absolutely. But I still think the Jaguars are a good team. They wouldn't be where they
Chargers.
are now. I mean, the Chargers. I'm sorry, they beat the Jaguars.
Jaguars
the Chargers
are a good team, but they're
yeah,
on vacation
already on
right now.
vacation. I believe that the Chargers are a good team. If they come in with LaDainian, if they come in with Phillip Rivers, they're going to give the Patriots a run for the money. But I still believe that the Patriots start the second half on down. They have their number. It's going to continue
so
to be the
we
Patriots.
all agree Patriots, Green Bay in the Super Bowl?
Oh, yeah.
Are you on it?
Outstanding.
Oh, definitely.
And the best case scenario for me, again, I've been very disappointed with the Super Bowl the last few years. And the best case scenario is like John said, where they play Green Bay, and Green Bay is tough. And there's some sentimentality to that as well with Brett Favre. How do you like that for a big
Sentimentality.
word? I don't even know if it's real.
6 syllables.
But
And 2 of them don't count.
Yeah.
the best case scenario is that Green Bay smokes the Giants. You know what I mean? And that's not a super tight game. Giving Green Bay that much more,
Momentum.
yes, momentum and that much more credit, street
Well,
credit,
I don't
if you
know.
will.
I don't know.
I want the Patriots. There's going to be 2 stinking weeks leading up to the Super Bowl. I don't want to hear about what the Patriots defense isn't that
The
good.
problem is-
the Patriots, they're undefeated. What do you mean the Patriots defense isn't that good?
The problem is, I don't know how my name sounds as Packer Paul. That's a little wild. I don't know. I don't know
Bring
if
me
I
back
like
to the
that.
jailbird days.
Well,
eh?
listen. Let's end
I think we only have a
this
minute
sports
left.
discussion. Scott, we just, you know, I mean, I want to
It's-
thank you
it's been
for being a co-host.
It's been a fun
for 3
4.5
years. It was
years,
absolutely
John.
fun.
You've been in on quite a few too. It's been great, and
It was
the
a good
crew's
time,
been outstanding.
and I'm sure we wish you all the luck in the world. We would have had a cake, but we pinched in. We didn't have enough money from all of us to give you a cake. So
17 cents make not a cake.
good luck on your way, and hopefully maybe no matter where we go with the show, you can maybe hop in one
I'd
time
be happy to do a guest appearance.
down the road. Who knows?
Especially when we hit baseball.
Well, as you know, baseball is a long season, so we might
It's
need you
going to
in
be even longer,
every
my
once in a
friends.
while. But Cody, are we done?
We're finished.
When
Thanks
did
to
the
the
balloon-
audience
when did
for
the balloon
watching
come
all
down?
these years. Adios, muchachos.
Have a good night, everybody.